Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Gyan channel. I'm Grandmaster Priyadarshan Kanappan, and today we are going to be talking about dangerous D1 square. So the series that we are discussing here is checkmates in chess, and we've been talking about checkmates in different squares on the chessboard, and we have covered A1, B1, C1, and now in this episode we are going to be talking about how checkmates happen on D1 square. So I've chosen few hand-picked examples to explain this particular idea, and the examples are going to be from kind of like very easy to progressively it gets tougher. So that's kind of like the idea of the examples chosen. So the first position that we have on the board, if you look at it, it's the white rook on g8 is attacked, and if it's black to move, black can even simply capture the rook if he wants to, but it's actually white to play in this position, and white in this position decided to go rook to g4. In my opinion, a very valid idea, right? Because the rook is attacking the knight, and then if the knight moves, then maybe the bishop will come with a check and so on. But here I would suggest you to pause the video if you haven't yet found the move, and see why there's a fantastic resource for black, and after which black wins this game. Very good job if you did spot rook d1 here with a checkmate. So after rook d1, the white king cannot go to e2 or g2. These two squares are controlled by this knight, because this knight is, as you can see, it's blocking the white king from entering to those squares, and also the rook is attacking the king. So basically it's a checkmate, and here the game is over. So let's move on to the next example that I have. The position that we have here on the board also, if you look at it, the king on e4 looks a bit funny, right? The white king doesn't look in a great position, and materially also, like black has a rook, and white in exchange has a knight and a pawn as compensation, but I wouldn't say it's enough compensation. Like, why black is definitely ahead in material also, but there is a forced way for black to checkmate the white king here. So once again, I would suggest you to pause the video and take it like a training puzzle, like pause, think. Once you find the solution, then click on the play button and watch the answer over here. So here black played this really nice move, which is knight to c3, and it's a double check because the knight is checking the king and the bishop is checking the king, and the king has only one escape square, which is the square that the knight earlier, which when it was on d5 was controlling, which is that knight c3, and now as this square is like not controlled by any piece, white king goes to e3, and here black played this checkmate move, and I'm sure you all would have found by now. If not, pause the video, guess the move, and then proceed forward. So here black played knight d1 here, and it's a checkmate because this knight is controlling this critical f2 square, and the knight is attacking the king, and this bishop on c6 is controlling the two escape squares e4 and f3, and this rook is controlling this critical escape square of d2, and this pawn is controlling the other two squares. So it's like a complete teamwork. If you see, all the black's major pieces and the e5 pawn are working together to deliver a checkmate on the white king. So let's move on to the next example that I have here. The position here is an interesting material imbalance, I would say. Black has a rook, a knight, and a pawn for the queen. So it's like technically equal material, but one scary thing in this position for the white king is that these pawns on d4 and c3 are pretty advanced, and the pawns are kind of going this way forward to promoting to a queen. So they're very, very close to getting promoted to a queen, and this is also a good example of how a coordinated army is better and stronger than an uncoordinated army. So if you look at it, the king on e3 is like, even though it looks like so deep into white's territory, it's actually very safe because the pawns are guarding the king, the knight is giving protection to the king, and so on. And here black comes up with a very nice idea here, I would say. Black goes rook f2, so he's bringing the rook closer to the white king, and he's also kind of threatening to pick up the pawn on h2, and white goes queen c4, and if black wanted, black would have just picked up the pawn on h2 and black would win the game. Black instead decided to choose another winning variation, which is rook d2. So here I would suggest you to pause the video and try to get an idea of what most likely black is having as a plan in his mind. Once you have a clear idea like why he played rook d2, then proceed forward with this video here. So So here white continued with queen f7. I mean, white is just shuffling his queen front and back, as there's no good way to attack the black king on e3. As I mentioned, this king is kind of in a very, very strong position. And now you see the plan of why black went rook to d2, and that is c2. And now rook d1 checkmate is being threatened. So here after c2, this king is kind of, exposed for a few seconds, I would say. And white tries his luck by giving a check with queen b3, and black has already calculated all this out, and he goes d3 here. And after another check that is possible for white, which is queen b6, king f3, and now unfortunately white cannot give any good checks on this king, because if you look at it, like if I go, let's say something like queen f6 trying to check the king, the knight would just capture my queen. If I go queen e3 with a check, the king would capture the queen. If I go queen f2 check, then the rook would capture the queen. And you can see, possibly the reason why, like black decided not to capture this pawn on h2. So let's see if something similar had happened, like the game continuation over here, and how the game would have progressed. So I'm just going to make very similar moves to the game. So let's say I played queen e6, and let's assume something like rook d2, or no, let's assume queen d5 was played, okay? And over here black goes rook d2, and then white goes queen f7 and c2, and then if queen b3 check, d3, queen b6 check, king f3. And here the position looks very similar to the one that we got in the board, except the h2 pawn is missing. But there are potential tactical tricks for white. For example, let's say white goes like queen f2 check over here, and if black decides to play rook f2, what do we have on the board? It's a stalemate. That's the main reason why I believe black decided to be very smart here and play rook d2, and after queen f7 goes c2, queen b3, d3, queen b6 check, king f3. And now with queen f2, you don't even have to worry about any stalemate tricks, because you just simply capture, as this pawn still has squares, and then black just wins the game. So here white went queen b2, and now you know what's the move, and that is rook d1, delivering a checkmate on the board. So let's move on to the final example that I have on this topic, and this is I think the toughest position, right? Because I've chosen this as the last position of this particular video, and it's actually a series of moves. So I would highly suggest you to look for kind of a lot of forcing continuations. It's not like you can't really deliver a checkmate on d1, right, or somewhere, because both the kings look very safe. But white builds up a fantastic attack based on a fantastic calculation, and I would highly suggest you to pause the video, think of all the attacking and forcing moves that you can find as the white side, and try to calculate as much as you can before proceeding to watch this video for the solution. So I hope you have spent your time trying to calculate. So let me now reveal the moves. So white played knight takes g7, a very powerful move, because if king g7, which is what happened in the game, we'll come to that later, if knight takes g7, if the knight captures back the knight, then black just loses his f6 knight, because after queen takes f6, white just ended up with an extra pawn, and also the black king is pretty weak. So in the game, black obviously took king g7, and now you cannot play queen f6, right, because the king is supporting the knight, so king would capture back. But white had everything planned. White did not blunder his knight or anything, and that comes up with this fantastic attacking move, I would say, which is like bishop h6. White is bringing his next piece into the attack, and now king takes h6. Obviously it's like a free piece, kind of looks like a free piece. So white's bishop is being captured by the black king, and now queen takes f6 by white. So now you see the black king, which was very safe on g8 few moves ago, is now on a very, very tricky space on h6. And here white's big threats, try to find white's threats. Imagine if it's again white to play, what would white player be thinking? And I'm pretty sure you could have easily spotted the checkmating ideas here, because white's ideas are very clear here. White wants to go knight f5 check, and as there's a pin, the bishop cannot capture the knight, and once the king moves somewhere like h5, give a checkmate with queen h4 or g4 and check the king, and also it's a checkmate. So noticing that knight f5 is the critical move, black goes knight g7, a very smart defensive idea, because now knight f5 wouldn't really give you anything clear, because black would capture back with a knight and you have to capture back with a pawn, and you kind of maybe get the g6 bishop, but there's no checkmate in the horizon. Instead, white finds another forcing attacking move here. And what is generally the attacking theory? When you're attacking, bring all your pieces to the attack, right? So white goes h4. So it's not just pieces, but the pawns are also participating in the attack. And now h4 is exploiting the drawback of knight g7, and that is the fact that g5 square, which was earlier controlled by the knight over here, isn't controlled anymore, so that you can easily threaten queen g5 checkmate. And here, realizing that queen g5 is coming up, here black goes knight e6 in this position, and now find the checkmate n2. And I'm sure you would have spotted it by now, because you have found all aggressive ideas, and that starts with knight f5 check. The king moves to h5, and then you continue with bishop d1, which is a check and a mate, because the king cannot escape anywhere, because all these squares are controlled by the white pieces, for example by this queen, knight and bishop. So black's king gets checkmated, and that's the how black ended up getting checkmated via the check on d1. So I hope you really liked this episode. If you do have any ideas on what kind of chess videos you would like to see, please do post them on the comments, and do subscribe to the channel, and press on the bell icon if you'd like to get notified about all the videos that we post on our channel. Bye bye everyone. Signing off, Grandmaster Priyadarshan Kannappan.